Hi guys, it's Kelly Ray Tamaki, founder and head coach at TMH Business Coaching and a bunch of other companies. And I am here today to talk about my top 3 productivity secrets. So I want to teach you guys what I've learned over the past 21 years. And I've kind of put together as in 3 main steps. And it really helps me to feel more structured, scheduled, and peaceful. It also allows me to be more present. And that is so important, especially in your relationships, for so many reasons. I mean, when I'm not present, things like falling down the stairs happen to me. So being present is super important, and it's very hard to be present when you're overwhelmed. And I want to decrease your overwhelm, decrease your stress, and I want you to feel good more of the time. I want you to feel more joyful and more happy, more productive, and more profitable. So this is my productivity secrets, and I hope you use them. And I hope that you get way more done in less time, and you can take more time off, and you can be more present when you're doing one thing at a time. So that's a really good place for me to start. One thing at a time. It is so important. So I should only have the one tab open with my productivity secrets notes, and I should be focusing only on this presentation. Can you imagine if I was also trying to text someone, or I was trying to do my nails while I was teaching? Just would not be good. So you want to really do yourself that favor, but do the people that you're with, the people that you're serving, that favor as well, and be totally present, one thing at a time. Okay. Now, the 3 big steps. The first one is you're going to own your day instead of letting your day own you. Okay. And we've all had that feeling. By using your calendar properly. Okay. Now, if you know me at all, if you've learned from me at all, you know that I am obsessed with my calendar because it is a magical tool. It's free and it works for so many reasons. Number one, I want you to pre-plan your most valuable activities in your calendar so that you can guard that time and do your focused, productive work that you need. Okay, so most valuable activities, depending on what level of systemization you're at in your business, you might still be meeting with your leadership team and doing their KPI meetings. We need those in there every month. You will still be possibly doing your monthly financial review, your monthly marketing review, your monthly people review, where you look at your financial reports, marketing reports, and your KPI reports of all your team, or just your leadership team. And then your leadership team does the people below them, and so on. And so other most valuable activities include your family time, date night, medical appointments, like anything that you can pre-plan that's important that you want to get in the calendar. You have to put it in there and guard that time. And then during that time, so for me right now, I've got my door closed, and this is an important commitment that I made. It was pre-scheduled, and I have a little sign that says, "Thank you so much for coming by my office. I look forward to talking to you, but right now I'm live streaming or I'm in a meeting, so please come back later or email me." And so that's kind of my way of guarding my time. I pre-schedule it, and then I guard my time by closing the door and doing that deep focused work so that I can be present, one thing at a time. And then also, guys, one thing on your desk, one tab open. And I know a lot of you are like, "What? I have 2 or 3 screens." And I'm like, one thing at a time. Okay, guys? Okay. And then the other thing I want to talk about with your calendar, instead of using a calendar, a lot of people have, well, they might have a calendar, but they might also have like a home calendar. They might also have a to-do list. They might have a to-do pile. They might have sticky notes. They might have stuff written on their whiteboard. They might have text in their text box, messages in their social media box. And that is so overwhelming if you have all these different places that are sort of telling you what to do or dictating your activities for the day. So we want only one place, the calendar. So the calendar's got to have your social media checking time, your phone and email answering time, and you want to schedule those out every day. And depending on your needs of your clients, the type of business, for me, it's morning, mid, and end of the day. Okay, so I always check text, emails, phone calls. However, sometimes in a day, I won't be able to do it until the end of the day. So on those days, that's what the schedule is. Now, we're talking a lot about pre-scheduling, but I also want you to make sure that at the end of the day, you update your day in your calendar for what you actually did. So it reflects your actual day, because we want to come back. We want to see how much time was spent on each activity, how much time was spent on social media platforms, so we can measure marketing return on investment and other important calculations. We want to see, is it time to hire you an assistant? And that's only just a few examples, but when you track your time the way I'm asking you to, religiously, perfectly, every day, you will have all of this great data that we can use later. And Google Calendar, for example, has a great search function where you can search up, every conversation you had with a certain client, or every time you did Facebook Lives, or YouTube Lives, or LinkedIn Lives. And it's just really helpful for those 3 monthly reports I told you about that should be looked at every month and should be what you're using to create way more profitability and systemization in your business. So that financial report, marketing report, and your people report, okay? Those have to be in your calendar for sure. The other thing I want to mention is, all those different places I talked about, the to-do pile, the sticky notes, the inboxes, the calendar on the wall, the home calendar with the kids' activities, your wife's calendar that's shared with you, your calendar. All that stuff is so overwhelming, and there's a lot of things on your to-do list, or your to-do pile, or your sticky notes, or your whiteboard. If you actually took all the to-dos and you made a list of them, 80% of them are not needle moving activities. 20% of them are the ones that should be in your calendar. And those are the things that are creating less fires. They're creating systemization in your business. They're creating better performance in your business. They're increasing profit in your business. And when you find out those 20% of your top most valuable activities and you schedule those and you guard your time around those, you will find out that a lot of those sticky notes and to-do piles and to-do lists become irrelevant, or those activities get taken care of because you've done the needle moving activities. Or another thing is, a lot of fires that used to take up some of that 80% don't even start anymore, because we've gone 10 steps back, created a procedure, systemized it, and now the business is running better, so those fires don't start. Okay? So every week, I also want you to look at your calendar. And if you have a leadership team in each of your businesses, which I highly recommend, I would meet with them weekly and look at your calendars strategically. Look at your calendars for the week and make sure that the projects you're working on, the KPIs that you guys have, and the things that you're doing to hit your strategic objectives for the year are in your calendar for that week. You have to be ruthless with that calendar. If you've got stuff in your calendar that is just not moving you towards your strategic objectives, or they're not your most valuable activities, you need to take that out of your calendar. And so having that weekly strategic assessment is really good. Schedule that, okay? That's got to be in the calendar, like everything else I'm going to talk about today. Don't let things get scheduled that aren't moving you towards your goals. Okay, so a lot of people have that link, right? Like, book a time with me. And that link is in a lot of places. So a lot of people are booking time with you. And a lot of those people are trying to sell you something you're not looking to buy, or they're just not, and not in a mean way, but they're just not your most valuable activity. Or they're supposed to be reporting to someone else, or they're just, if they're not your top 20%, if they're not your most valuable activities, I don't want them getting in your calendar. So really think about who gets that link with you, okay? Obviously, important clients, most valuable, if that's one of your most valuable activities, they can have the link, okay? Now, I also want you at the end of the week to have something on the end of your week. We do 4-day work weeks. So at the end of Thursday, it says, check back over the week to make sure nothing was missed and reschedule it if it was missed. So not only are we checking our calendar like after every activity that we do every day, just to make sure we're following the calendar, we're also checking it at the end of the day to make sure that it's accurate and it reflects what we really did. And then at the end of the week, we're going back to check and make sure that we didn't miss anything. Because sometimes when it gets hectic or things come up that you weren't expecting, you miss something. And so you need to move that to the next week to make sure it gets done. The idea, though, is that you don't miss anything. Now, that said, this is kind of an advanced part of the calendar, but I really want you guys to have this, okay? If you use the default color, let's say Google Calendar, the default color is teal. If you use teal for activities that can be moved, and you use red for the activities that cannot be moved. For example, I promised to go live at 1 o'clock. I'm going live at 1 o'clock. That cannot be moved, but I have to write a blog also, and that can be moved around so that I can fit in a meeting with my co-pilot, Mindy, okay, or my integrator. If you guys have read Rocket Fuel, read that book if you haven't. I highly recommend it. So, okay. And then so that advanced thing is, just the colors. So have that default color be things that can move if we need to move them. So those would be the things that maybe you move to next week. And then the colored things, you can get way crazier with color coding if you want, but I'm just the two things. The default color are movable items. The other colors are things that have to stay where they are because they're scheduled with someone else. I gave my word that I would be there at that time. And then also, guys, when you're scheduling that deep focused work, I want you to make sure that you're scheduling about 50 minutes, 50, to work on a project, and then get up and take a 10-minute break. This is optimal for your brain and your productivity. I've read lots of studies on this, and that is my magic number that I want you to stick to, okay? Works really well for us. I also mentioned earlier that you're going to schedule that time to check your messages, calls, and emails. Now, the reason we're going to do this is going to segue into our last point, which is that you are going to shut off all of your notifications. Okay? This sounds, I can hear the panic out there, but this is glorious. And I will get to that. That's the third point, okay? But make sure you schedule that time for checking messages, social media, etc., if that's part of your job. And then check your calendar often, okay? Like I said, your calendar is how you keep your word as a leader or a spouse or a friend or a co-pilot or an integrator or a visionary, all your roles. You have one life with 24 hours in each day, so you should have one calendar. Hopefully you sleep 8 hours and then the other hours can be scheduled. You can leave also at the beginning, guys, you can leave some space open as you get used to this because things will still come up. If you're just working on systemizing your business, if you don't have everything running perfectly yet, if you don't have all your procedures and systems in place, and you still do have fires come up that you have to deal with, book time to work on procedures to make sure those fires are prevented, but also leave some time open because things will come up. Okay. But when you get 21 years in, you can literally schedule yourself from when you wake up till when you go to bed if you want to. But also keep in mind, you can schedule 3 hours of hot tub time with your husband. Okay. That's the most valuable activity for me. Okay. And then we talked about updating your calendar at the end of each day because we really want to use these minutes and hours that you've spent on certain activities to calculate very important things. Including marketing, hiring new people, changing job descriptions, etc. For example, like if you are the president or CEO of a company or the business owner and you're doing things that we think you should have a social media assistant for, that we can find out from looking at how many hours you spend on certain activities in your calendar. So make sure you pre-schedule, and then at the end of the day, the end of the week, you update to make sure that it looks the way the week actually happens. And then remember not to overschedule yourself at the beginning because as you're systemizing, as you're getting into this, things will come up, okay? And check your calendar often. I know those are a lot of takeaways. I try to make this as succinct as possible, but I really want you guys to get this because it is incredible for your productivity. Now, that was just section 1. So hopefully you guys are taking notes and go back, pause, rewind, and make sure that you get all of that, okay? Because we've got to do all of it to make it work. And I promise you guys, in structure, you will find freedom. You will love this. Remember to book happy things into your calendar. Remember to put in the things you like to do, okay? And that's my big goal here for everyone I work with in every company, in every capacity, and everyone I know in my whole life. I want people to be happy. So using the calendar to make sure that happy times get put in your calendar, that things that increase your productivity, your profitability, and your freedom in life, that is good stuff. That is stuff you want to schedule, okay? Not just talking about work stuff. Okay, number 2 secret. Empty your email inbox every day and go through your work texts during your scheduled time. So remember the 3 Ds. You want to do, delegate, or delete with any inbox messages in your email, social media, text, etc. So you don't want to have, I don't want to have. I'm telling you my secrets. I'm not going to pretend to know what you want to do, but actually a lot of people don't want to do this. When they first hear about it, they think it's a lot, but I'm really going to encourage you to please listen to me. So this is one of my phones. I have a work phone, and because I promised my husband quality time is one of his love languages, so I put it away during evenings and weekends, and then I don't even know if I get any notifications because all of my notifications are off. Now, I have checked this phone this morning, but if I had not checked the phone, I would still have no idea if there were any notifications because they're all off. Okay? And I'm going to get deeper into that again, but all notifications are off. I'm not finding out that I'm getting emails or phone calls or texts during this presentation because that doesn't happen on any of my devices. Okay? So we're going to empty your email inbox every day and your texts. And what we're going to do is we're going to do the thing in that time that we've scheduled to look at our emails and messages, or we're going to delegate it to someone. So we'll forward it off and then file it away in a folder called something that you can remember if you need to go find it later. Or you're going to schedule something in your calendar for later. If it's going to take you half an hour, 45 minutes, an hour to do, if it's a most valuable activity, you're going to schedule it for later and you're going to file it away in a folder that is called something very obvious, like the project name or the person that you're going to be working with. Okay? And get those inboxes, get those texts, get the social media, all the places where messages can gather, get those emptied. Okay? Awesome. So that is secret number 2. So number 1 is use your calendar like a boss. Number 2 is get your inboxes empty. And number 3 is turn off all notifications. Yes, all notifications. Now, I'm not a parent, and sometimes people are like, I'm a parent, my kids need to be able to reach me. And, for me as well, my husband needs to be able to reach me if something happens to our 3 huge fur babies, or if he needs me, or if something happens to my family, obviously. But so what I want you to do is set something up so that your kids or whoever you're worried about being able to get a hold of you, because you have no notifications on, have someone in your business that your child or your spouse can call, and they can come bursting through my door if it's an emergency. So if something happens, my husband's going to call Mindy. Mindy's going to come running in here, and I'll be like, guys, I have an emergency. I have to go. Okay? So set something like that up and then turn off all your notifications. So shut off your ringer. Go in and shut off all notifications on your texts. Go in and shut off all notifications from all apps. And make a sign for your door like I was talking about, okay? Because that's another notification. Knock, knock, knock on the door, or people popping their head in, okay? So when you're doing your deep focus work, you really want to have that door closed with that sign up. But mostly, I want you to have your notifications off. I don't want your computer, your tablet, your iPhone. I don't want anything dinging, ringing, vibrating, or otherwise, okay? Your watch, especially. Lots of my clients try to get away with their watch. I'm like, I could see you looking at that and touching that. To really be the most productive you can be, you have to do all 3 steps, okay? So use your calendar like a boss. Number 2, empty those inboxes so that feels so good at the end of the day, by the way. Schedule the things that need to be done in your calendar and file the emails or delete the text once they're done. And then number 3, every single time Instagram asks, turn on notifications. No, never. Give us a button that says, stop asking me this, because you are going to be the most productive business leader that you know if you follow all 3 steps. Okay, guys, I was trying to aim for 20 minutes. I did it. Perfect. 20 minutes, lunchable learning. I love it. I hope you guys enjoyed today. If you have any questions, please put it in the comments. And I wish you the most productive month ever. And then I hope that you guys really make this a habit. And I hope you realize how much more you can get done with this. And then I would love to hear from you how well this worked for you. So just remember, guys, till I see you again, business can be better, and it really should be.